You are not going to believe what just came out of the White House.
Yeah, dive a little bit deeper into kind of the reasons behind saying what you said. I mean, Bitcoin, of course, is unique. It's a finite asset. There's a space race amongst nations, I think, to capture the value of this. Is that part of the administration's thinking in ending the war on crypto or the war on Bitcoin, kind of opening their mind to it? Like you said, sending a transaction across borders now can take days and many fees and different clearing processes. Bitcoin, of course, kind of fixes that. But then with the supply cap, I think it adds a unique element to it. Is that something you're thinking about of, we don't want another nation to front run this. We want the United States to capture the value, or our allies. Just, is there any thought to kind of the international component here?
And if I could add to that, I think that's in regard specifically to the SBR, right? Do we want to start acquiring sooner than later so that we're not front run to the party?
Well, I think that we made it very clear in the way that we structured the executive order that we recognize Bitcoin as being unique. And we've said repeatedly that we view Bitcoin as digital gold. And a question that I get from journalists all the time is, how much do you want? And I think that's really a silly question. That's like asking any country, how much do you want of any asset with intrinsic stored value? You want as much as you can possibly accumulate. There are stipulations in the EO. We must do this in budget neutral ways that don't cost the taxpayer a dime. But as the president likes to say, we have a lot of high IQ people in this administration, specifically over at Treasury and at Commerce. And I'm very confident in the leaders in those buildings to come up with extremely creative ways for us to accumulate. And we're very excited about that. And certainly we want to move as expeditiously as possible to do that. I think that there is definitely a sort of space race as it pertains to accumulation of this asset, no different than there is with gold, right? So we're very excited about it. I think one thing I'd like to point out too about that executive order is that we recognize the other ecosystems that exist, and that's why we have the digital assets national stockpile as well. We want to encourage innovation in other spaces in the industry, but I think it's really important that we do recognize Bitcoin for its uniqueness. And like you've described, it's a finite asset. It's a commodity, not a security. It has the immaculate conception, as David has said, and that intrinsic stored value piece is there. It's been well adopted by the marketplace at this point. So, I feel like we're well on our way. I think we positioned ourselves to be the Bitcoin superpower of the world. And, we're going to deliver on the president's desires as it relates to that.
Amazing. No one is ready for what's coming. We have breaking news. Cities, states, and 10 trillion in assets under management are coming to Bitcoin. I don't know. Maybe they realized that Max Kaiser and Eric Trump are right. You Bitcoinize or you die. Welcome back. I'm Rustin, and we've got a lot to get to. Send it!
When people raise this idea that the dollar is patriotic and that if Bitcoin's competing with the dollar, that's bad for America, two things applying the logic from the art of Bitstein's rhetoric is, first, reframe, no, the dollar's not patriotic. Let's debunk that. It's not in the interests of national security. Let's debunk that. And also, by the way, maximally bullish, Bitcoin is threatening the dollar. That's how great Bitcoin is. The government has had a monopoly on money. 6 years ago, Steve Mnuchin was saying 6 years from now, I'm not going to be having to talk about Bitcoin. Now he's not Treasury Secretary anymore, but somebody is, and they're having to talk about Bitcoin. That's very bullish. That's how great Bitcoin is, that it's so great that we're even having this discussion, that powerful interests are starting to pay attention to Bitcoin, and we're not going to let those powerful interests frame it. We're going to provide the correct frame, which is the dollar is not patriotic, by the way, and Bitcoin is the thing that most aligns with both the individual. As a result, add enough of those individuals up, the American people, and certainly the structure of government.
Bitcoin is as American as apple pie.
I use the phrase "F you money." I mean, nothing is more like libertarian or pro-responsible government than that. Or the way that I've actually asked you about this, that the way that the Bitcoin is used for counterterrorism and things like that, it's wildly impactful, and we're at the forefront of something just really cool stuff you guys are doing. I envy you guys. You get to dedicate your whole lives to this kind of thing and learning about it. It's neat.
Pretty fun.
Yeah.
And I love the phrase and roots of what Kaiser and Trump are saying. Bitcoin or extinct. Bitcoin or die. It reminds me of this beautiful flag And yeah, breaking! 4 major wirehouses managing $10 trillion to start offering Bitcoin ETFs to clients this year, says Bitwise CIO Matt Hogan. Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, and UBS are coming to the party. And this is why, because if they don't, they will lose.
So what did you do last week with the Treasury operations? You were able to generate a Bitcoin yield of 2.55% or over almost 10,000 Bitcoin to shareholders using an arbitrage.
We sold $1.5 billion worth of stock, backed by $500 million worth of Bitcoin. We bought back $1.5 billion of Bitcoin. We captured nearly $1 billion gain in the arbitrage. That we can do with equity day by day. When we do it with debt, we issue $3 billion of debt that's backed by 600 million of Bitcoin that comes due in 5 years. We pay 0% interest. We buy $3 billion of Bitcoin. We capture the $2.4 billion in the arbitrage gain up front. But then over the course of the 5 years, we double or we quadruple the investment because we're buying an asset which is appreciating faster.
Everyone's going to copy the business model or get left in the dust. The banks are bending the knee and a flood is coming. You don't want to get left behind or go extinct.
This isn't modern finance. This is incompetence. Try and transfer money across the world. You want to go buy a watch. You want to go buy a car. You want to go, do whatever it is. The banks take half of that. You have currency conversion rates. You have all sorts of things. You have to find a branch bank in a country with a banker you've never spoken to before. You don't even know if they're, a real life banker or if they're a fraudster. Whereas you can open up a DeFi app right now. You can open up, any cryptocurrency app and you can send money wallet to wallet instantaneously without the expense, without the variability. Our banking system is broken. Our banking system is antiquated. Our banking system favors the ultra wealthy. And what actually got me into it is the fact that I realized our banking system, it was weaponized against the vast majority of people in our country, either the people that don't have the zeros on their balance sheet or people who might have worn that red hat that said, "Make America Great Again." And it forced me into the crypto world. And I'm telling you, if the banks don't watch what's coming, they're going to be extinct in 10 years.
But it's Bitcoin, not crypto, or my blockchain never fails. What's the saying? You can lead an alien to water. Oh, no. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Now, speaking of aliens.
Would you ever open up Roswell and let us know what's really going on there?
So many people ask me that question.
I know, it sounds almost ridiculous, but it's actually the real question I want to know.
It sounds like a cute question, but it's actually, there are millions and millions of people that want to go there, that want to see it. I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. But Roswell's a very interesting place with a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
So you're saying you may declassify?
Oh.
You'll take it?
Well, I'll have to think about that one, right?
All right.
I'll have to think.
All right.
We got news out of Roswell. Just in, Roswell, New Mexico launched the first city-run Bitcoin reserve. What's going on in Roswell? The first city to have an official strategic Bitcoin reserve started with an anonymous donation. But wait, it appears we may have a photo of the donor. Check it out. Always had a feeling Cork would be a Bitcoiner. But congrats to Roswell, now the first city to set up a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And Arizona is on the verge of history as well. The first state to launch a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The bill has passed both the House and the Senate. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs signed HB 2342, safeguarding the right to operate a Bitcoin node and mine from home. Bitcoin Reserve Bill, SB 1025, passed the House and awaits Governor Hobbs' approval. And that 10% of funds comes out to around $3.15 billion for Bitcoin. Oh, aren't they concerned about the volatility? Well, Arizona Senator Wendy Rogers says, GFY, I do not have any concerns about the volatility of Bitcoin simply because if you zoom out on all of the charts, it always increases in value. Arizona is winning. Meanwhile, in Texas, they're planning to arrest people for memes, like the EU. Yeah.
You can spend as little as $100 in this state on a political sign. So if I went to the hardware store and bought, lumber and paint, and I put a sign in my yard that said, "Vote Abbott," right? And I spent $100 doing that, that would actually trigger a reporting requirement on my behalf. If I printed up some flyers in my own home and then I went and distributed those to my neighbor, that could require certain disclosures and disclaimers and filings with the Ethics Commission. And so what happens is if some person who doesn't like you, if you start to become effective and some person doesn't like you, they can file a complaint with the Texas Ethics Commission. The commission, if that complaint fits their form requirements, so even if the stuff in there is not true, if it's just the allegations fit the form requirements, they hold that they must open an investigation and you must cooperate in that investigation. You have no Fifth Amendment right to protect yourself. You must answer the charges against you. You must travel to Austin.
Everything is bigger in Texas, including Big Brother. Absolutely shameful. And apparently no dissent either. Look at this.
Phelan to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 366 is a step towards transparency and integrity in political advertising. Move passage.
Question occurs on passage to engrossment. Question occurs. The question occurs on passage to engrossment of HB 366. Record vote has been requested. Record vote is granted. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Mr. Moody voting aye. Show Ms. Jones of Harris voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 106 ayes and 39 nays, HB 366 is passed to engrossment. The chair lays out on second reading HB.
Yeah, that's right. Apparently this is coming to America.
Okay, so
What do you mean I can't have any alcohol?
Okay, well, I'll tell you. Okay, the time's 20 to 3, 14:40. I'm arresting you on suspicion of improper use of the electronic communications network. I'm just
What?
127 of the Communications Act, okay? So you do not have to say that it may harm your defence if you do not mention one question, something which you later are in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you understand that?
So I'm actually being
You're
arrested?
going to be arrested, okay?
Right.
Take you back to the police station.
Right.
Ask you, okay, this is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page. Okay?
Oh, really? Oh, it's a Facebook crime, is it?
Okay.
Right.
So we need to ask you some questions about that.
Right.
Have you got anything in your pockets, Thomas?
I've got my keys. I got... No, that's about it, I think. Keys.
So, anyone who's been arrested, we can search them under Section 32 of the Peace and Benevolence Act.
Right.
And that's for dangerous items.
Hey, I mean, you said I was going to be arrested under some what information? I'm going to be arrested for posting on Facebook.
Made some comments that are offensive, obscene, and people have made a complaint about that, and it's transferred.
Can you tell me what this comment was?
Okay, well, we'll do that when we interview.
All right. And so, what am I going to be locked up for the night, or?
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Right. Do I need to take my medications with me?
Yes, we will look at taking all of those.
When do you need to take them?
Well, I've got pain medications. I've got sleeping medication. I've got anxiety medications, which I might take one of those in a bit. Okay. You know.
Well, if we take everything with us, then you've got everything there, haven't you?
And then, we've got a nurse up there. They'll be able to. They'll be able to come and see you, and then once you've been there, they can assess whether or not medication can be issued. All right. So what we're going to do is, if you want to pop yourself up, we're just going to search.
You need the glasses.
Yeah, search you.
To come with you.
My glasses.
Yeah. Do you want to take them with you?
We got a lot more to get to, but before we do, look at our likes.
3 or 4 times, maybe. I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Bitcoin is your ultimate defense against Big Brother. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp while we take a moment to recognize our friends powering this show over at the Bitcoin Way. As the state seeks to silence you, Bitcoin sovereignty empowers you. Don't get caught holding IOUs. Refuse to be silenced and get your Bitcoin off exchanges. Get self-custody, learn how to hold your freedom money with confidence. Visit thebitcoinway.com and begin your journey towards sovereignty today. If you're looking to get started, you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation using that link in the show notes. Guys, You ever try to explain to your friends what happened in 1913 and why Woodrow Wilson destroyed America? And they just ask if you caught the game last night. Well, not anymore. Thanks to the Orange Pill app, you can stack friends who stack sats. It's the ultimate hub to connect with fellow Bitcoiners, find meetups, and discover every Bitcoin conference happening near you and across the country. Bitcoin is better with friends, and now you can zap them instantly all in one app. What are you waiting for? Download the Orange Pill app today, go hit a local meetup, and who knows? Those connections you make could last a lifetime. All right, my friends, as we said, a flood is coming. And look at what BlackRock has been doing. 600,000 BTC. And look at what they're saying.
So I think that's fair. Bitcoin definitely is a new asset class. I think the hope, or at least the potential for Bitcoin to be this, borderless store of value is that it does ultimately look more like gold, but how to think about that during the adoption trajectory is the tricky part. And I've heard you or somebody on the roundup kind of say it's like 50% NASDAQ, 50% gold. And I think that's a bit what we're seeing, but this is an important moment to play out in terms of how Bitcoin's price performance does show up. I mean, this environment of market volatility that is really induced by cross-border tension and, supply chain, complexity, like this should be Bitcoin's environment.
Okay. Serious question. When banks have to buy Bitcoin or go extinct, what happens to Bitcoin's price?
The industry is growing up. It's becoming more secure. It will be accepted by banks. I'll leave it at this thought, which is when your bank tells you they'll buy Bitcoin for you and they'll make it really easy and you can do it on the phone, it'll cost you $1 million Bitcoin. And when your bank calls you on the phone and says, you really ought to buy Bitcoin. It's a digital monetary alternative. And when they recommend it, it'll cost you $10 million of Bitcoin. And right now, no bank's going to recommend it, and they're not going to help you buy it, and you're going to have to jump through hoops, and you're going to feel really nervous about it, but you'll get to buy it around 100,000 or a little bit less than 100,000 of Bitcoin.
That's right. Strap in, ignore the noise, and tune into the signal, baby. When you'll find lots of signal. At Bitcoin 2025, that's right, Bitcoin is taking over Las Vegas, May 27th through the 29th at the Venetian. This is going to be epic, absolutely loaded lineup coming your way. Sailor, Ross Ulbricht, Cynthia Lummis, Adam Beck, Saifa Dinamoose, and so many more. You don't want to miss it. And the Simply team will be on site. We hope to see you there. So grab your tickets today, and don't forget to use promo code SIMPLY for 10% off. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp by sharing the Sound Money Gospel. And don't forget to set those notifications for the best in Bitcoin delivered to you daily. We got a lot of cool stuff coming your way, so stay tuned, and I'll catch you all next time. Love you guys. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.